Welcome, Wale. Wale, can you share some of your research interests? Is there anything you feel like you want to achieve in the next couple of weeks? Your LinkedIn, so we could connect with you. Make sure you share your name, where you're joining from, and your research interests while we wait for others. So I would also be doing I'll be playing some kind of cool music while we wait for others to join. If you have any music you would like me to play for you, yes, you can just request also in the in-call message. So in the next 6 minutes, we'll actually get started. Let's just try and wait for others. All right, I can see Abdul Malik, Olariwaju, welcome. We have George, we have Moses, welcome, welcome. Let me just pin up this. All right. Welcome once again. If you're just joining us, welcome to today's section where we'll be taking fundamentals of AI research writing. In the next couple of minutes, I would have Victor Olufemi, who is also a researcher at LyngualLabs. So he'll be discussing some of the things we should expect in the next 4 weeks. And yeah, you might be asking, what is LyngualLab? What do we do as LyngualLab? You would also be taking that, some of the things you should expect in the next 4 months, and more of like an introduction section to what LyngualLab is all about and the webinar. Then after that, we would have our speaker come on board. So yeah, Victor Olufemi, if you're on the call, please can you unmute yourself?
Okay. Hi, Kausa.
Right.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Victor.
Okay. Thank you so much once again, Kausa. Hi, everyone. I can see there are a lot of amazing people joining from all across Nigeria and Africa, and it's nice to be here. It's nice to finally have a feel of this session. Yeah, and please just feel free to keep sharing in the chat throughout the session. You might not be able to unmute, but of course there'll be time for such. So for now, just keep your engagements in the chat, and let's see how how you intend to make the most of this session. So welcome once again to the long-awaited webinar. We've been organizing this for a couple of months now because we felt that it was much needed, right? And yeah, and I'm glad and super excited that we get to kick this off with so many people. I can see there are several people on the call already, and several more still joining as well. So yes, it's really amazing to have you guys around. Yes, so welcome once again. As I said, as Kausa has said, you could still use the chat, and let's see where you are joining us from. And so just a quick run through. So the webinar is going to hold for 4 weeks. And it's going, of course, it's basically one Saturday of all the Saturdays in May, basically. And we want you to take advantage of the sessions. Of course, if you have not been able to join, there's a group. If you have not been able to join the group as well, you can reach out to any of the admins, and so that you can facilitate being in the group, right? There are several amazing people, researchers like you and myself as well. You could potentially connect with people, different people from different levels, from professors down to, PhD researchers, master students, and even undergraduate researchers as well. And you could take advantage of that opportunity, to network, collaborate, and drive growth in the research space. So we have, 4 sessions, uh, which I would encourage you to, try to maximize each and every of those sessions. Today's session will be kicking off as week 1, and then in subsequent weeks throughout May, we would have other sessions as well. Right. So the agenda is pretty straightforward. No big deal at all. I'll be done shortly with the welcome and introductions, and we'll have our main session speaker for today come up. There will also be time for Q&A. So, of course, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. There's also going to be a Q&A, so you'd have enough time to ask questions, potentially connect with the speaker, and yes, there'll be much time for that as well. All right. Yes. So, okay, you can put your questions in the chat. Definitely, some of the organizers are also in chat. They would do well to answer that. So what to expect from the session? There is a lot to expect. To be honest, I can't outline everything because many of you came with, your own personal expectations, right? But the whole idea of organizing this is to, bring people together to, ensure, we can have, young researchers, amazing people actually connect within the space, researchers within Africa, come together, connect together, and actually, drive growth. So learn, network, and if you have, a research idea, you could potentially also, vet some of these ideas with other people in the space. So there's going to be 4 weeks, as I mentioned. Of course, there is also going to be a certificate of participation after the entire program. But would encourage you to, show up at least 3 times. We understand that, sometimes life can, be unpredictable. So, but we still encourage you, nevertheless, to try to show up at least 3 times within the 4 sessions so that you could, potentially qualify for a certificate. We have other sessions coming up in the week. Week 1 is going to be, an intro session. And if you look at the sessions, they're actually nicely tailored towards, how you can do a research end to end, right? From a simple, introduction down to how you can do a literature review, do your writing, publishing, your research, and how you could potentially even get this into, reputable journals, right? Or conferences. And of course, we'll close off the entire webinar in week 4 with a nice panel session, so you can come in with your questions. There'll be professors and amazing, also amazing other people within the research space as well. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause here. I'm going to talk about LyngualLabs for a bit, just before we invite our speaker, who is getting ready. So LyngualLabs is we do primarily a research lab. So we do key things which I've just outlined here. AI research, some of which you would have noticed, and that's why we're organizing this webinar as well. We also do speech data set curation. So if you are looking to curate your own custom speech data sets, you could reach out to us. We also have custom data sets. If you'd like to also take advantage of some of those data sets, you can definitely reach out to us to see if we have them in our pool. And we also have an AI academy. So if you are looking to upskill, right, in AI, machine learning, data science, or particular skill sets within the AI ecosystem, we have an academy as well, which you can take advantage of. Okay, so this is one of our speech data curation platform. We have several projects which we are looking to do, and you could reach out to take advantage of that. And also, you can scan this QR code if you're interested in talent development, or you particularly want to upskill in AI courses, machine learning, deep learning, or particular niche areas that you're looking to upskill. You could take advantage of some of our trainings. All right, so that is it about LyngualLabs. We have other things in the works as well. API offerings and some which I wouldn't spill right now. But yes, just to go back and do some housekeeping. I'm sure we have over 150 people on the call right now, and I'm sure more are still joining. So to recap this, the webinars are going to be every Saturday in May. So try to plan around, your Saturdays throughout this month. Because of, our speakers, there might be distortions in the time variation there. So it might not be same time every Saturday, but of course, you get the calendar updates, before the week, basically. And also to reiterate, attendance is being tracked. So please do well to attend at least 3 sessions, especially if you're interested in getting a certificate out of this session. We would also encourage you to use your real name while joining. More so, one, because you could potentially, connect with people so that we can track your attendance properly, and also so that people can see you, and reach out to you after the session. There could be a couple of people who know you, but they don't know you are interested in AI research. So, I mean, this could be an opportunity for you to actually get spotted on. All right, and yes, I would also just mention this. Sometimes you could, if you're in the group, you would see the form. The form may be shared on the group. Also, we'll try to do that in call, and also maybe via email as well, so that if you are around, you could potentially fill some of all those forms, during and after every session. Okay, so with that out of the way, I will now hand back to Kausa. My name once again is Victor Olufemi, and yeah, thank you so much once again for coming around, and I hope you make the most of this session. Yeah, so thank you once again. Back to you, Kausa.
That was a lot. That was a lot. Thank you very much, Victor. Without wasting much of our time, I think I'll just go straight to invite our speaker. So our speaker for today, for today's section, is her name is Sharon Ibeji. So who is actually Sharon Ibeji? So Sharon is actually a data scientist passionate about leveraging technology to solve real-world challenges, and she specializes in natural language processing, machine learning, and development of scalable AI solutions. Sharon has also led several high-impact projects, and her work focuses on bridging that gap between AI innovation and practical application, particularly in resource-constrained environments. Now, she just recently founded To Native, a community-led initiative that translates existing NLP datasets to more African languages. I mean, I know that what we'll be learning today it's really relating to what we are doing here in Africa at large. And also, Sharon actually holds a master's degree in data science and has been recognized for her research in speech processing and NLP from Nigerian Accent English. Now, she is committed to advancing AI for social good and empowering African communities through technology. So let's welcome Sharon Ibeji to today's section. I don't know if I pronounced your surname well. I'm so sorry if that is not the real pronunciation. Hi, Sharon.
Yeah, you did actually. You did.
Oh yes, thank God. Good day. How are you doing today?
Okay, thank you. How about you? I mean, I'm super happy to be here, so I'm really doing awesome.
That's nice. That's nice. Thank you very much
Yeah,
for coming.
thank you too. Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you.
Yes, you have the floor, ma.
All right, thank you. So, hi everyone. I'm seeing a lot of claps and thumbs up. Thank you so much. Um, I appreciate it, and I'm happy to be here. I hope that today's conversation matches expectations. So basically, we're just going to like look into intro to AI, ML, and NLP research. I mean, particularly around NLP. Um, Victor has given a bit of summary on what this webinar is going to be about. So there are going to be 3 more series after today. So like it's procedural. So today it's we're just going to like wet the grass, and then from the next series just like learn more about research, and I'm hopeful that by the end of the month, I mean, we are going to have a lot of researchers or a lot of people that their interest in research is now strengthening. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll talk. If you have questions, just throw it at me. Hopefully, I'm going to catch them, but let's go. Okay, so just a second. Okay, so I'm seeing people dropping their side interest already. All right, so I'm sharing my screen and please let me know if you can see my screen. Just thumbs up if you can see it. Right, awesome, thank you. So yeah, just gonna maximize this. Okay, so today's conversation is on introduction to research in AI, ML, and low resource languages, the foundational understanding of the field and its unique challenges. Okay, so now let's just sit a bit with this topic, right? We're talking about research in AI, ML, and NLP space generally, right? And then low resource languages. So the question of why is research important, and why do we have concerns on low resource languages? Like, why do we care about these things, right? And then now channeling to the field of AI and NLP, right? So I'm going to go to the next slide to sort of give us an idea on why this topic is important. If we take a look at this slide, you'd see that we are comparing the popular languages, which I'm assuming like everyone here might should have heard about, or to a large extent heard some of these languages here. And the comparison here is between the speakers of these languages and how much these languages are represented on the internet. For example, opening a blog post, how likely is it written in a certain text? When I mean text, I mean like in a certain language, or just generally like finding contents online in these languages. Now, the one in orange is looking at the number of the speaker distributions across these languages, and then the one in green looks at the distribution of these languages online, right? Now you see for English, right? The funny thing is that we have more presence of English language on the internet than English speakers. I mean, likewise, you look at German. German has same thing, right? And then you look at the other languages. There are some that there's like very obvious gaps, and then there's some that have like very um little gap between them. So now let's just go over to the next slide that talks about the representation of African languages versus how African speakers versus how these languages are represented on the internet. Approximately, the African language is barely like 0.1% totally, right, on the internet. And now you can see that we do have a lot of African speakers, but we have very minute representation on the internet. And that was a concern. We're a lot of people, then why can't we put in the efforts to solve this problem? And that is the beginning of this conversation. So overview is that many African languages are considered low resource due to their limited digital presence. Not that we don't have a language, right? We have a language, we speak our language, but we have very little digital presence. Sometimes we have a lot of texts that we can find, maybe from books, from stories, but then they are not labeled, right? We can't really tell what is the mood of the writer here, what is the sentiments here, what are we trying to infer here. These are just like texts written in a certain local language. And then this whole disparity presents us a challenge in terms of developing AI applications. We see a lot of technologies going on, a lot of things are being evolved, a lot of tools are being developed. However, when we talk about implementation wise, right, in terms of usage, in terms of can I go to Play Store and download an app that can solve this local problem for me? Can I check the web and I easily find a solution that can solve the certain local problem for me, right? Now becomes a question mark, right? But now when we are trying to solve that same problem in more represented languages, like what I showed in the second slide, like the English, Japanese, the German, we don't really have much of those problems, right? Now, but the truth is that a lot of things have been changing, starting from way back 5, 10 years ago to where we are now. I mean, to a large extent, some popular African languages like Swahili, Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa are beginning to get a little representation in the sense that we can now find some cases where we see some of the data online, some cases where we see Google building something and it has some of our languages there, right? Some cases where we've seen Facebook conducting research and we have some African languages being represented. However, we have a lot more African languages that are not close to even being represented, right? As this still brings us back to our problem. So progress is being made, and it means that we need to put in more effort to keep pushing this progress forward, so that we have less talks around this problem. So this webinar aims to provide African researchers with a foundational understanding of AI, ML, and NLP. We are going to explore the unique challenges associated with low resource languages and then discuss some emerging AI trends and some efforts that we could put together. My hope is that after this talk, for a start, we would have everything in terms of AI research. We would begin to work collaboratively in terms of, driving research in AI. So the agenda is I will have a brief intro to AI, ML, and NLP. We'll talk about the key challenges of NLP. We'll also talk about emerging trends, data scarcity, case studies, and then identifying research gap. So what is AI? AI has been a term that has been everywhere these days, like everywhere, right? And it's almost a family name that almost every parent, maybe it's just for some people, grandparents are now aware of this term called AI. Now, what exactly is AI? Many of us on call might know this, but yeah, just to great state. So AI is a sense of trying to make machines have some level of intelligence. And the aim is that we have the human intelligence as our benchmark, and then we're trying to like push AI models to this level of intelligence, really to exceed. Right? So now it's the process of simulating human intelligence in machines, right? Which is called artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is very important, and it encompasses different efforts to drive intelligence. Now, the main thing is that we want to be able to solve problems, advanced problems, beyond the type of problems that we could code, right? Beyond software problems that we could say, if this happens, do this other thing. We want intelligence. We want systems that can take initiative, systems that can analyze situations, systems that can identify patterns, systems that can predict, systems that can organize, systems that can learn, that can understand, right? So the main thing of it, the main goal of these machines is to be able to, solve problems, reason, plan, understand our language, understand our accents, understand our mood, understand our feelings, understand our proverbs, understand our expressions. All of these things are languages. I mean, in the typical African setting, we have mothers that wouldn't say anything. Their eye alone, like it's enough for us to understand what you're trying to say. So this is the goal. Like we want AI to be that intelligent, right? Now we also want it to understand our environment, make decisions, adapt, right, over time. So I think we have a good understanding of AI. Yeah. So now let's dive into ML and then we'll go into NLP. So now before I go into ML a little bit, so I want to mention that AI is sort of like to a large extent has like two main groups. We have the symbolic AI, which was like the olden AI, like the olden concept of AI. that tries to like convert information to some sort of like maybe like nodes or like symbols, So think about the basic knowledge graph that we know that looks at relationships, right? Or think about fuzzy logic whereby you're trying to compare two sentences, right? So these are like, I mean, there are still a lot of applications of symbolic AI in today's in our current time, but basically it's called the old-fashioned AI, right? And now we have ML. ML is the guy that makes use of data to drive its own intelligence, right? It doesn't rely on logic or relationships like symbolic AI focuses on. ML focuses on data. It tries to learn patterns from data, and then uses that understanding to transfer to respective tasks that it was trained for. Yeah, so I'm going to talk more about ML, which is our focus, and then from ML we're going to NLP, which is, yeah, so we'll explain more. So ML is again is a modern approach of AI where we have machines that rely, okay, we have machines that rely on data right against intelligence. Now, ML could span from shallow learning and like statistical learning to deep learning, which is more complex to understand, to training, more expensive, right? And now deep learning is like the bedrock of a lot of exciting research works that are going on today. Now, in deep learning, and like in deep learning for the most part, we have advanced works in NLP, right? Image classification, computer vision related tasks, and some other interesting related research works. So now, ML generally encompasses shallow learning and deep learning, right? Now, you can see projects that span across maybe the very simple thing as clustering people into groups or identifying customers that have potential of not banking with you anymore, right? Or, trying to analyze transactions and identify risk, right? And then extending further to like things like image verification or see my face, how do you know this is Sharon, right? To things like speech recognition, understanding my speech, recognizing that this is me speaking. So things like generating content, generating text, generating images, generating videos, like a lot of things have been going on, and you all can testify to that. So all of these things are packed into ML, and then it depends on the branch of ML that you're interested in and dive into it. So every of these areas of ML have potentials for research, and again, it depends on where your interest is. There are also people that have domain-specific use cases for ML. Maybe you're working in engineering field, maybe you're working in the oil industry for oil spillage and all of that. Like there are a lot of other use cases of ML. And then your research could also be around those domain use cases, however, leveraging ML to solve those specific problems. So I hope we're on the same page in terms of machine learning research. So now, for the purpose of this conversation, we are going to focus on NLP research around text, audios, um, you know, any form of language expression is what NLP covers. So NLP is a subset of ML and deep learning from where we are coming from now. We're going from AI to ML, and then now we entered deep learning, and now we're talking about an aspect of deep learning which is NLP, right? So now NLP helps computers to understand our language, right? We speak to a system and it carries out a task, either to complete an assignment or to talk back to us, right? It can also interpret. Now, when we speak, and it understands, it means that it can actually like understand what we are saying. It can like process that information in a way that a human could, right? Um, Now, NLP basically allows computers to communicate with people using human language. It also provides computers with the ability to read text, hear our language, interpret our language. Now it comes from different disciplines like linguistics, computer science, and then it tries to close that gap between human to computer, interactions. So if you have a background in linguistics, and you're interested in AI, this is where it should be, right? So and now some examples around NLP is text classification. Sorry, is my screen still up?
Yeah, I think we lost your screen, Sharon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, just a sec.
Sharon, I don't know if you're still here. Uh, just confirming if you have any difficulties, reshare.
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, I lost my internet trying to connect to my backup. Just
All
give me
right.
a minute. And then I'll be back up. My sincerest apologies, please. All right, so let me quick clear my screen. If you can see my screen, just thumbs up. All right, thank you so much. My sincerest apologies again. So yeah, we're back. We're talking about some very interesting applications of NLP, right? Let me show my. Okay. So yeah, so some interesting applications of NLP. We talked about text classification, basically trying to organize text. What is text talking about? Where does it belong to? What should we classify it as? Think about customer complaints, and there are different possible things the customer can be complaining about, and you want to sort those complaints and know what particular group it belongs to. Think about machine translation. As I'm speaking this language, maybe there's someone here that doesn't understand English, and being able to translate that to a language that they understand, right? Entity recognition is looking at a particular text like this one here, and then find the key entities there. Is there a person here? Is there a location here? Is there a name of an organization here? What are those things, right? Sentiment is what is the expression of the writer? What is the mood of the writer? Question and answering is you're trying to ask a question and then you're getting a response using natural language. Right. So now we talk about natural language a lot. Why do we care about it? Why is it important to us? Right. Um, NLP helps us to improve our interactions with computers. Say, for example, you think about Siri. Imagine speaking Igbo language to Siri, right? I don't know if anyone has interestingly tried that before. I've not, so I can't really say much, right? Or imagine, you're going to ChatGPT to type, and ChatGPT has a voice note, and you actually like conversing in your native language and telling it what you want it to do. These are like very interesting, flexible ways of working with, you know, a language. I mean, another use case could also be a case of I'm not very proficient in this language and I'm speaking to this model with my staggering way of speaking and I need it to understand. For example, I'm not really good at Igbo language. Now imagine me trying to express myself Igbo to this model. Can you really still understand what I'm saying? I think to an extent in English language, these language models are doing a very good job. I mean, there could be typos, there could be like, you're probably not like, like putting your words properly. And then it's to a large extent understands what you're trying to say. Now, can we replicate this for our local languages, right? As much as maybe we have a local language that can, translate, that can like put in our text, are there rooms for mistakes? Like these are like very interesting conversations or use cases. Then enhanced data analysis and insights. NLP is very useful for unstructured data. We have tweets, we have customer complaints, we have news reports, we have a lot of things written as text, right? We have our school notes, our lecture notes, we have reports, end of year reports. So now can NLP help us to identify key things or analyze important information from that data that we've provided? Secondly is that we need to automate some tasks. Maybe I want a situation whereby the customer can easily just type in their issues or like make inquiries or like investigate further, and then it gets like a smart response. There are processes behind the scene. Maybe we are able to automate a call, right? That this AI speaks to you and then like there are a lot of like processes, and you could see that for every layer here, there's a form of language requirements, right? Level of language understanding. And then we have industry specific use cases like in the hospitals, financial institutions, legal firms, they have specific domain use cases for NLP. And generally, there's a lot of evolutions around AI these days that lies a lot around language, right? And that means that without being able to process language, we won't really go far, right? And we've seen how successful and how far we've come with the ability to understand language. Think about what more things we could do if we're able to process more languages, we're able to understand more unique ways of communicating, right? Even like driving vision into language, sign languages. What's the word? Like, when I'm just talking with my eyes, all of those things are languages, right? So those are like a lot of interesting evolutions around AI that NLP can help us to boost. So this is why this conversation is very, very important. So now, we will talk more now about the emerging trends in NLP research. One of which I very much love is multilingual models, right? Now, previously we had a case of you want to build a model that understands English. We have a model for that. We want to build a model that understands French. We have another model for that. We want a model that understands Swahili. We have another model for that. Now we're having three models for similar use cases, right? Use case of understanding the language. The only difference is that they are different languages. Now with multilingual approach, we're able to combine this into a single model that can understand different languages, that can communicate, that can translate, that can process these languages as a single model, right? That's quite interesting. And then we have crosslingual, which is one of like the very useful applications of AI that has helped to poster research, right? Whereby you probably trained a model that understands English properly. Now, can we transfer the ability to understand the relationship between words to, let's say, using that same model now to train another language like French, right? Now we are fine-tuning that language model that was trained on, say, English with French. And now we wanted to transfer that knowledge to this one so that it doesn't take much time to train, it doesn't require so much data, right? And now we're able to generate something better from another thing, right? And then we have few shot and zero shot learning, which is whereby think about even before the era of before the trends of LLMs, we have many zero shot models on Hugging Face, whereby maybe you have think about a CSV file or a spreadsheet of say maybe say like tweets, right? Individual tweets, and then you want to classify the sentiments here. With very short, all you needed to do then was to provide the classes that you needed. Maybe I'm looking at just three classes, hate speech, neutral, and non-hate speech, right? And then I tell the model what to do, and it's able to classify that for me without any training. And now LLMs are there, which are able to even like do more work around zero shots and future planning. Now, few shots is that you have a few samples. For example, think about let's move with LLMs that everyone must have explored. You're writing a prompt. You wanted to be able to identify customers that hate speech again, maybe hate speech, and then you give an example of what hate speech looks like and what non-hate speech looks like. Now that's a few shot learning because there are now few examples that you provided. Now, when you provide a new sample input, this is now a text classifying this based on the patterns that it has seen from what you've provided in your prompts, it's able to do a good job. Alternatively, you might not have examples and you want to rely on its intelligence. Okay, go ahead and classify this for me, and then that's zero shot learning, right? So we also have large language models. Large language models are very interesting topics today, right? It's a very, very interesting conversation right now. And these are models that were trained on very massive amounts of data to generate human language. Now, before the trend of LLMs in 2022, we have had very interesting works around language models, right? The idea is still the same, trying to find relationship between text and trying to know what the next thing to write would be, right? But then again, there are more capabilities that LLMs have provided to us now that have proven that there's a large difference between what we had before and what we have now. There's also like a presentation of more level of intelligence, advanced understanding of our language, you know, and then we have like very, very interesting use cases. And now we look at small language models. Small language models try to tackle the problem with large language models that require a lot of training, a lot of data, you know, very expensive, right? Now, with small language models, we are trying to build language understanding, right, with lesser resource consumption, right? We want a smaller model that's capable of carrying out the task you're interested in instead of a large language model that can probably do everything, right? So now this one is smaller, this one is more efficient, this one can be used, we can be easily trained, in use in our devices and other applications might want to use. Yeah, so these are like some interesting research works that are going on. And then we also have areas around data sets. Data is one of like it is the key thing behind everything we are talking about right now. Without data, we wouldn't be here. Like we wouldn't be having. I mean, we could be having a conversation around getting data at first, yeah. But without data, wouldn't we like talk about some of the research works that we've explored or like that we are proud of, right? Because data helps us to build something. It gives us the power to learn, right? We've seen history and we're able to like infer what would likely happen. Now, data research is one of the key areas of interest that helps us to boost data accessibility, improve model performance, foster model training and fine tuning. So we would likely talk more about data at a later time. So now let's move into ethical AI and fairness. What is ethics? Ethics is the principles, the morality behind certain things. Like I think I've lost my screen again.
Yeah, we lost the screen again. Okay. Sharon, are you still there? Maybe we
Yes.
give you like to try to get it up. I will quickly launch a poll while you're trying to get it set up.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so hi everyone. There's a poll. You can just to share your research area, research interest. So you could just check out the poll and yeah, vote in your preferred. Because I know that there's been a lot of talks regarding NLP, but I still want to have feel of what research area you're most interested in. So you can check out the poll and yeah, and if you can't see the poll, you can let me know so that I could read that. Yeah.
Okay. So thanks for that. 1 minute break. Yeah. Please check the poll. Thank you. So yeah. So we're talking about ethics, right? So ethics is whatever thing you're building, whether research, whether it's a software tool. I mean, whatever thing you're building, and there's a concern around ethics, how how accountable is your system if it breaks, right? You know, how transparent, how is it working, what did you use to build this, right? And then it also like stretches into AI safety, where we now look at how safe is it to input my data in this application, how safe is it to put in my bank details in this application, right? So these are things that that surround research or any form of development, right? So now for AI, we have a lot of conversations around AI. You're building an intelligence system that wants to compete with humans. Does it care enough like humans would care, right? Does it does it protect or safeguard my data? Does it release what I've said to someone else? Like all of this conversation, does it say something that would sort of like put threats to the user, or put someone in a state of despair, right? So these are concerns around developing AI applications that should be very useful to whoever that is building AI or NLP based applications. So now I want us to now talk about our home, where we are from. As we know, most everyone here is an African, so I'm working with that assumption. Now, what is NLP research in Africa like, right? Like, what is it? Where are we in terms of research? So you just want to confirm if everyone can hear me.
Yeah, you're audible. Perfect.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you. So, NLP research in Africa is an interesting concept that I'd like us to dive in a little bit for the next 20 minutes, and then we can start taking questions. Okay. So, now NLP in research in Africa focuses on driving the inclusion of African language in AI models. Now, we have talked about some applications of NLP, and I'm going to go back to that slide where we now rethink about those applications for our local language, right? So let's think about sorry. So let's think about, we've talked about a scenario of conversing with a system in your local language. Let's talk about classifying a text, right? So we have a text that is written in a native language, and now we want to classify that text. Is it possible for us to do that? Do we have models that can, understand our native language and know what class that data belongs to? Let's think about trying to automate language-based tasks, trying to have conversations with this model, trying to, come up with summarizing texts that are written in native language, trying to pass that text down to someone else, trying to make calls that would require you to like maybe code switch between English and a native language, or call people in remote areas in native language. Like, do we have processes like that? Are they advanced enough? Are they working effectively? Do we need to push those modules to other African languages? Think about industry-specific applications. Think about a hospital in a remote center. So like these are very important thoughts that we could have around the use cases of AI in Africa. So now let's just get back and wrap up. Now, I want us to think about these challenges in terms of research. Why are we where we are today in terms of AI research, NLP research, and the case may be? Number one issue that everyone talks about is data scarcity. Um, we lack large data. You'd barely see a Wikipedia post that is all written in certain African language. Um, barely see like very plain social media texts, or a lot of them written in native languages. Um, we have barely online. We've seen the graph at the beginning of this conversation. Well, you know, when we have grammatical errors in our texts, we have models that can cater for such scenarios. Um, we have low availability of label data. Sometimes we find some author books, maybe books that are written in a certain language, but now we don't have these data classified, like their sentiments, like, or even talk about speech, these data in audio format. Then we have like lack of volunteering interest. There have been efforts around getting data together, but how many people are interested in joining hands in that area in terms of volunteering for data accessibility, data creation without being paid, right? And this one thing I would like elaborate a little bit on, right? And I'm hoping that maybe I could, change a few people's mind, right? I mean, for research to succeed, we need resources, either financial resources or people, And then when we look at the financial resources, we would all agree that it's sometimes hard to find or hard to get. And now you have like a group of people trying to solve a certain problem. It's important that we look at what this goal is about, right? Um, the goal is to make data accessible. We want to push the data public for everyone to use, so that tomorrow you're building something, you don't have to start from scratch. Someone else has helped you with data. All you have to do today is to focus on building a model. And that's a good thing. So how do we solve this problem? We need people to be more community driven and passion driven in terms of what the goal and the purpose of this entire thing is, right? English models have come this far because of the efforts that have been put in. Um, we need to start putting efforts in research, putting efforts in joining groups that are trying to, make our data more represented, either through data curation, any way you could contribute to it. It's no amount is too small, right? So I just needed to emphasize a little bit on that. So now what we could do again is just generally like having community initiatives, and there are a lot of them coming up. So we need to put hands together to support research efforts around data accessibility. And now we have another issue around our cultural and linguistic diversity. Many languages are not the same. We have regions that speak the same language, but in reality, it's actually not the same. Like there's a difference between the way this region pronounces this word versus how this other region pronounces the other word, you know. And then we have differences in our dialects, right? Like I mentioned, we also have a lot of languages, a lot. For example, in Nigeria, I could be wrong, but I'm thinking maybe we have over 250 languages in Nigeria, and a lot of these languages, you know, we also have different tone. You know, we have a mix of tone markings, which sometimes affects the way we train these models, and that could also be a gap in terms of like building models that, you know, that their architecture are structured for the African language, for like our tonal, you know, uniqueness. And then we have other areas around benchmarks. Models are being developed like LLMs, but the question is, what type of data sets are they benchmarking on? You know, are they benchmarking on local languages, right? You know, and all of those concerns. So now what we can do is to create language specific benchmarks, which can be useful for benchmarking models, evaluating the performance of these models. Also is that we need also like centralized languages that we could work with. For example, the Igbo language, I'm sure we have the Central Igbo. Aside the general or different dialects that come across with the language, there's like something central. And even if we build models around the central language, it's a lot more helpful than when we don't have any model at all, right? Also, we need to liaise with cultural experts. When you say cultural and native speakers, they're not far-fetched. They're not like, you know, in remote places. They're your colleagues at work that speak this language when they get home. They're like, you know, maybe your teachers at school that are passionate about this, that could reach out to. They're like your parents that maybe like have the time and are interested in this. These are like people around you that you need to reach out to or talk to. So let's just give an example of some research case studies to sort of give you an idea. In case you are interested in research in NLP, what kind of research can I do? So we have a lot of efforts around speech, maybe or voice, right? Or audio, whatever you want to call it, right? So voice tech, basically around, you know, speaking in a language and another person, and it's like, you know, it communicates in an audio form. And it could be that you want to translate one speech to another speech. It could be that you want to do like a real time, as I'm talking, immediately it's translating, you know, someone else is hearing, there are no lags, you know. These are very like advanced and like very interesting works that, you know, we might get there in future, right? I'm very hopeful about that. And then so think about maybe from Igbo language to Swahili, right? Or from one language to another language. Um, so, for example, you could check out Mozilla for the data that they have, you know, and then see if they're like parallel speech data sets. That is, what I mean by parallel is that I said come in English language, and there's another data that says bia in Igbo language, right? Like it's saying the same thing, and then you can try that out in terms of fine tuning and you know, building out small models that could translate from one native language to another native language. And then yeah, shout out to LyngualLabs and their work around speech technologies. So just look out for them, yeah. And then we have the crowdsourced audio recordings from native speakers. You know, some of them are also open source. So now the idea is that the goal is that you want to improve speech recognition across certain languages that are yet to be developed for. Another case study could be around machine translation from one language to another language, right? Now this one could be around text, transcribing a text, translating a text to another text in different languages. Now, some people might be familiar with No Language Left Behind research by Facebook, which has, if I'm not wrong, I think about 50 something African languages in that model, right? So now it's a question of, okay, where did they stop? Can we extend to more languages that are not there yet, right? That's also another research. Another research could also be around data creation. So we've talked about benchmarks. Can we create our own benchmarks? Can we look at the existing benchmarks out there and translate to our African languages? Right. Now, shout out to Masakane. He did an interesting work around Iroko Bench, which looks at three different types of benchmarking data sets which they translated to African languages, and then they're able to use that to benchmark on LLMs, both open source and the paid service LLMs, to see their performance on the African language, which was documented. And I think he also won an award, right? So these are like very interesting works. The question of, okay, are there more benchmarks? Should we translate more? Should we, where did Masakane stop? How can we improve from where they stopped? Right. And this is also one thing that needs to be looking at as well. We are trying to continue research from what Masakane has done and try to translate more to like more languages, right? So these are interesting areas of interest that are relevant today. So how can we improve AI by focusing on Africa, focusing on those gaps, right? So I'm going to wrap up by giving a call to action. People ask questions like, how do I know what kind of research to do? Um, if you've never done research before, right, or if you think you've never done research before, a good way is starting as basic as documenting whatever projects you've done, like whatever work that you've done on your own before, write an article on it. And that's step one to research, whereby there's a problem you were trying to solve. You want that people are able to replicate what you've done in the future. People can read your article and you're able to, solve that same problem that you just solved, right? And then in the next series, you would learn more about like, the standard research and how to go about it, right? So that's just like a very, very good start. Yeah. So if you're interested in NLP, it's a question of what kind of language am I interested in? The language I'm interested in this area, is it already represented? I guess something else I'm interested in. Is a friend working on a certain language that I want to join them to work on? And one thing I want to emphasize on again is that if a research has been done, do not reinvent that wheel. Do not redo that research or carry out the same research again because that's your interest, right? It's you're putting in so much effort on something that's already done. So it's been nice to put in the effort on something else so we can push AI forward, right? We don't want to remain at the same spot, so we want to move forward. So identify what your interest is, partner with researchers in your region. I've mentioned some communities. And in the next two slides, we look at some communities that you can join if you're interested in volunteering or participating in research. Publish your work, whether it's an article, whether it's a research paper, whether it's a research finding, whether it's just an abstract. Push it, let people see, let people know what you've done and how to improve on what you've done. If you've done something that is within you, someone else somewhere would have to repeat that work that you've done, and which is not a good thing. Um, open source is like one of the important ways at which you can move forward, right? Have you worked on interesting data? You can push it publicly for anyone to access. Have you built models that are useful in a certain way? You can push it publicly for other people to access, to fine tune, and to improve on. So these are call to actions that I would like us to think about in terms of how we are approaching our research ideologies. So choosing a research idea basically is around, like I said, what language you care about, the tools that are missing, what are the gaps, what are the areas that you need to improve on. We've talked about a lot of use cases, right, when we're looking at some of the things that are existing out there. So like it could be, again, could be as basic as building models that understand grammatical errors in our native language, right? Like, so it just like anything at all that I could think about, just see what other people have done. They could have done it in other languages, and then you want to do it in a certain language. It's something, right? Um, what's the word again? What kind of tools do you need? What kind of models are existing out there? What kind of data exists out there that you need to improve on, and the likes. So, conclusively, is that if you're interested in volunteering at any community, I have very, 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 very minute number here. There are a lot more out there. So please, you could ask around or like join these communities and also like learn about more other communities that you could partake in, depending on what your interest is. LyngualLabs are already like owning speech, so anything speech, data, research, we have to native my community. It's new and we're working on translating what already exists, NLP data that already exists into more African languages, right? We have Land Africa, if you're also interested in NLP data sets and NLP research, we have Masakani, which is popularly known, Masakani has built the foundation that many of us are trying to like work on. So if you're interested in general NLP research, a lot of subgroups are in Masakani that you could participate in. We have ML Collective for any general ML research that you are interested in. So I'm just going to stop here. There are a lot of things to talk about, but I'm going to give you the room to ask questions and we could just like converse, right, and call it a day. So thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that I was able to sprinkle a little bit on research and it's met your expectations for today. So yeah, you're an A. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I mean, it was really from 0 to 100. I like the way you actually took AI, introduction to AI, machine learning, then bit by bit. I mean, for somebody that doesn't really have much knowledge in AI and machine learning, you really treated it well. Thank you very much. Just a quick recap on what Sharon told us that if you are looking forward to start your interest in research writing, you should actually check what others have done so you don't waste your time in doing something that already exists. So this is more like an assignment for you. So if you're looking forward to start, I think the best way is for you to do your own research, right? She mentioned which language are you interested in. You can pick it up from there and answer that question that, oh, which language do I want to work on? Then you now start searching on, oh, these are the research that exists in that language, and pick up some problems that you feel like they are yet to solve, and that is how you are able to like generate a research interest on your own. So I think that will be like the assignment for everyone. Make sure that if you are new to research, go back to your board, read a lot on different people. She already gave us some communities we could join. You could also check out different materials online. Then you can now sit down and ask yourself which research problem do you think you would like to work on? And she also mentioned something that I really like. She said you should also partner with researchers. I feel that's like a really, really important thing that you should not miss. And that's because if you don't listen to other people's idea, you will feel like people have not done it. But by the time you listen to other people and you share your ideas, they will actually point you out to some things that, oh, I think I've seen something relating to that. You should check this out. Then from there, you check their own, and definitely for every paper that you read or for every article that you come across, they will mostly want to write about their future work. You can now check out their future work and get started from there. So I think I was able to do like a quick recap on that. So yeah, let's get back to questions and answers. I can see Kenneth and raised. Kenneth, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any question for Sharon. So yeah, Sharon, thank you very much once again.
Thank
Kenneth,
you.
Okay.
um,
Maybe while Kenneth is coming up, someone has a question, and the
okay.
person is asking how they can join these groups. So that is Kehinde is asking, some of these groups that are on screen, how can they join them?
All right. So for Lingual Lab, you can once you actually fill up the webinar form, yeah, actually with Lingual Lab already. So I'm the community manager at Lingual Lab, so I'll just what's it called? I'll probably send up a follow-up email for you to know how you can actually like be part of the community and talk more on what we do as Lingual Lab. And for Donative, you can check them out at donative.org. I think currently they are looking for volunteers, and I feel this is like if you are somebody that is new to research, this is like the right time for you to actually get started because they are currently looking for volunteers to also participate in the interesting stuff they are doing. So you can check out donative.org. And let me just drop that in the in-call message.
Yeah, and if Sharon is still around, maybe she can also tell us how
Talk
best to
about
find it. Yeah.
yes. For Learn Africa also you could just search online how can I join Learn Africa community, and definitely you get all your resources. So you can just take note of this communities and do your own research and see how you can get started. Kenneth, how you there? Okay, I think I have another question from, I don't think I can pronounce this name. I'm so sorry. But the question is, I am coming from a linguistic background and I have no idea on how to get into NLP. How do I get started? And where is the best starting point for me? Sharon, would you like to take that?
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's a powerful question. And then I have a friend that was exactly in this position. She has a background in English, and she wanted to go into NLP. So first off is that I think you had like a very good starting point by being here today. That's the beginning, by mingling with people in these communities to start with. Then secondly is like personal training, right? So now you have the linguistic parts. What are you lacking? So what's missing now is the AI understanding on its own. Yeah. So now it means that you have to learn about the AI skill or the skills required to, do AI, right? And then you're good to go. So from there you can start collaborating with, if you're part of this community, you could join like whenever they're working on a research paper, you could start contributing as simple as maybe just working on the data. You might not have to build a model, and then you have your name on those papers, right? And then gradually you're working on models, gradually, like, and also if it's a career line for you, right? Once you transition by learning any AI skill, you could start out by taking any internship that comes across your way, right? Internship opportunities are very good for you to what's the word, gain like industry experience. Also DSN does a lot of if you're in Nigeria, I don't know if you're in Nigeria. If you're in Nigeria, data science Nigeria sometimes offer research opportunities for early starters, right? Internship opportunities. And really, it's a very good way to start. I started off from there, and it was very impactful in my own career, right? So these are some strategies at which you can get started. So the key thing is getting the AI skills to start with first. What are the AI skills you need? It could be starting off with learning how to code in Python. It's not hard. Python is very interesting, and we have a lot of LLMs now that could aid your learning. Like before that, you have to, wait to reach out to someone to ask a question, and before they respond. So you could start with YouTube, learning Python to start with, right? Learning the basics of data science, because that's like the foundation of processing data, analyzing data, then building up into deep learning. Deep learning, the core thing now that we are talking about here, right? Deep learning, then focus on NLP, right? So just how you climb, but do it with the community so that you're not alone. All right, you're welcome. So I think that question we have Femi. Femi says, please, do we have research that deals with predictive models? Maybe different from NLP. I am more of looking for research that deals with application aspects of agriculture. Yes, Femi, that's a capital letter yes, right? So we have like if you just Google research on think about anything, maybe application of agriculture or disease detection, right? If you just Google that, you see a lot of works around research that's been done there. You could do research with normal ML, classical ML, whereby you're building a predictive model, you know, that can do certain things with ML algorithms, right? And then you're presenting your results. Research is not limited to a particular scope or a particular tool. The key thing about research is that you're contributing something, right? There's something that you're writing about that you can't find there, like someone else has not done, or you're questioning an approach that someone else used. Maybe they use traditional approach for detection and you want to use ML, and then you're writing a paper around it. So anything works for research. And then we have question from Kenneth that said, my question is for those who are new to AI studies. How and where do we start from? Because I could see from your presentation how fascinating AI studies. Okay, now Kenneth, can you reply me and let me know if I've answered the question when I was responding to hey, is it who and me? I'm not sure, but yeah, I was responding to her before. So just let me know if I responded, answered your question there. Then Bright is saying that I have a background in petroleum engineering. We research interest in CCU, EOR, and hydrogen storage. I have no idea on these things, but okay. And I am very interested in integrating ML into my research. Can you please highlight how I can do that? So now I don't have like expertise on any of these things, but I know that for people who integrate ML into their work, it's a question of first off, what do you want the ML to do? You know, are you trying to automate a process? Are you trying to predict when something is likely to happen to create an alerting system? Are you trying to, what's the word, hasten like the time spent on certain thing, right? So it's a question of what is the gap that you want ML to fill. When you identify that, then you decide on if you're building a classical ML algorithm, if it's classical ML based, or if it's something that requires a lot of unstructured data, you need to go into deep learning, right? Now, the key thing is that you need your data and you need the labels. Yeah, so you need to identify what the gap is and how you want ML to come in, then you can build from there. You're welcome. So I don't know if I'm missing any other questions, and yeah, I think
Okay, I
that's it.
think Wakili is raising. I don't know if I got that name correctly. You can unmute your mic, and Wakili, you can try to ask your question.
Thank you so much. I'm trying to write the question because I understand I'm the key, but let me just speak it out. Thank you
Okay.
so much for the opportunity. And Sharon, thank you so much for the knowledge you've given us.
Thank
My
you.
question is regarding the my own idea, which I developed along about this NLP. I understand that some African languages, especially Nigerian languages, are underrepresented. And I went through my personal researches. I discovered that I can contribute to that. And there was one program I attended, and we were engaged in a Kaggle group where I was able to extract one data. Like I think it is about 20 million data, and I read about the data when trained on machine. The language that is being trained on that data particularly will be like its level will be elevated. So the problem I encountered is uh, me alone cannot just handle the translation of that data into my native language, that is Hausa, and to make it available for that. I need to have a collaboration of other languages that translators to make it happen together. So my question is there any potential sponsors or funders that can help my own project, particularly to make that happen? Thank you.
So if I get you right, what you're looking for is collaborators on your project, right?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. So I think I would strongly recommend Masakane here, right? So in Masakane, the interesting thing there is that you could create a small group, right? Posts that you're working on, so and so. I need people that are interested in this, right? And to be honest, you're going to get people. So just post it there. If you want to create a Google form, if you want them to send you a DM or you want them to comment, right, on Slack. I don't know if you're there already. It's a Slack community. So you just join there and then post on the general group. And then when people declare interest, you can now create a small what do you call it? Is it a chat? I'm not sure of the terminology, but like a small chat for the group of people that are interested, and you could kick off from there. Does that answer your question, Wakili?
Yeah, I get that, but I'm asking particularly on can pound my, because if I involve other people, it is about resources. I may not now singular as I am. I cannot be able to sponsor the maybe what I'm giving for other translators. And in our context now, volunteering is something that is a bit difficult for people. People are struggling with their life. You cannot just keep a person just to ask him to do particular people for nothing. So I have to get like what I'm asking is just like are there any ponders those who can pond my project like this to make it happen?
Oh, yeah, there are actually people that fund projects, right? There are a lot of research grants that you could apply for, depending on what your exact research interest is. Please, if anyone knows of any current funding that's open, please drop in the chat for him to check them out. But yeah, Wakili, there are many funding these things that are out there. You could even just Google them to see if you'd find any. But please, if you know anyone, please drop in the chat for him to apply to.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thanks, Basil. Yeah, it's a channel. Okay. So the next question says that, okay, let me go to Rodney first and then I'll come back to Basil. So it says that, is there a reason why there are limited open source data sets for African languages and more private ones? Is it due to the complexity and resource intensity of creating these data sets? Yeah, so to start with, I know of certain organizations that focus on paid data sets. But this is because sometimes they're working for other organizations that have hired them to prepare that data in a certain way, right? So maybe it was very expensive to put together and they want to keep it private or they require you to pay for it. So in such cases, if you're working on researches that require that data, then you'd have to what's the word? You probably have to either get some grants first, or just make that payment and access the data. Yeah, and then it's almost like an endless loop because people who pay for data and build models most likely might not open source those model weights as well, right? So it's one of those things that wish that if we if we work on certain data, unless if it's like really private, confidential, or really really expensive, but sometimes some data sets were community driven and then keeping it private. It's a nice thing that we foster research by publicizing as much as we can, right, within our communities. And then Basil said, okay, you can contact AI, please. Thank you, Basil. Then we also have another question. What are the new innovations when it comes to tones when dealing with speech to text, especially when dealing with tones coming in sequentially? Yeah, so I'm going to leave these questions to the LyngualLabs team. I'll take a bow here. So, in case you guys just answer the question, there's a question in the chat. Yeah. And then someone said, my question is on AI and the field of humanities. AI has been helpful and impactful in this field to the point that if humanities does not innovate, right, AI does all the thinking humanities usually focuses on. I know there are many integration points for humanities, particularly English language and AI. Could you help with a few others and perhaps comment on integrating AI with humanities without overshadowing the humanities? Okay, yeah, this question is interesting and funny at the same time. Yeah, okay. So for what's the word? For for humanities, what aspect of humanity are you looking at, Abolade? Or are you referring to human generally? AI does all the thinking humanities. Okay, I know there are many integration points for humanities, particularly English language and all. Could you help with a few others and perhaps comment on integrating AI with without overshadowing? So I don't know. Personally, it's that I think AI helps to like reduce our workload. That's one big thing for me. So it doesn't take the agency from you as a human to be able to carry out activities as a human being could. For example, is that you're thinking of maybe you want to create content. You as a human would have to be the one to come up with that idea, right? AI could probably like give you suggestions, but you have the final say. It's within your power to decide on which of the options you want to go for, right? They come up with a strategy, and then it helps you fine tune or improve what you've come up with. I really don't think that it's sort of like takes out your potentials or your power completely, right? It just makes us to think more or spend more time on the thinking while we have this guy that's maybe sometimes executes for us. So yeah. So then we have for deep learning and other AI, we still have challenges with GPU. Yeah, that's very true, Ibrahim. I think with cargo has helped a little bit in terms of providing access to GPU for some hours, right? Which you could leverage on depending when we can yeah, we can get more access to fundings and other things to like buy or pay for Google Colab or more advanced GPU depending on the level of research that we're looking at. Then I want to explore research and representation of women in open source NLP dataset, but it doesn't look like a new topic. But is there a new angle to explore, especially as a Nigerian? So now it's a question of, are you looking at placing women's voice in open source NLP dataset? For example, maybe like a speech data, you want more women who are, like speech data sets that are spoken by more African women. Or is it a situation where you want which other aspects, maybe writing styles or like concepts around NLP or articles that focuses on women needs in Africa, maybe in African languages, or like what area of representation are we looking at here? So now it doesn't look like a new topic. You might be right or you might be wrong. Now you just have to check that out if it is or not. However, it doesn't stop you from doing this. It's a question of what area of representation are you looking at? What kind of representations have been done out there? And where can you improve on, right? Maybe they've done representations for a certain language or for few examples, you need to create more examples. It's also a contribution. So just check it out, right? So any other questions? Thank you so much, Chris. I saw what you dropped. Wakili, please take a look. Thank you. So yeah, I think that's all in the chats. Don't leave any hands are up.
Um, I think that's all. Thank you very much, Sharon. We really do appreciate, and thank you all for joining also. So before we call this meeting before we wrap up, we would like to have like a quick networking section for like 10 minutes. So what we'll be doing is we'll create different breakout rooms whereby we can have like at least, let's say, 5 people in each room. So once you join the breakout room, you get to network with other people, explain, oh, this is what you're interested in, just like share your ideas, and probably you could maybe from there even get somebody that would you guys can actually partner together and write a paper or something if you guys research kind of align. So that is what the networking is all about. So in the next 10 minutes, we'll be doing that. So we'll create I think 30 breakout rooms, so you could just join anyone. And please, once you join the breakout room, don't just be quiet. Make sure you actually like interact with other people, share your ideas, share what you have in mind. Even though you are new or you are currently working on a paper, just share your ideas. So from there you could see people that you would have similar research interest, and pick up something that, oh, let's network, let's see how we can write something, or write an article. So yeah, that's what the networking would be. So Victor, are we set for that?
Yes, so I'm going to just do a quick shuffle. I'm creating
All right.
some breakout rooms now.
All right, great. Once again, once you join the breakout room, please make sure you interact. Don't just mute yourself, and don't just feel like, oh, you don't know what to say. Even if you don't know what to say, just introduce yourself, right?
Okay, so I'm going to open the rooms now, and yeah, see you guys in 10 minutes.
Great. Uh-huh. Um,
Okay, I'm also going to, I can see some folks are still on the main call. So I will still try to reassign you, but yeah, you should get assigned to a room, and just let me know if you have difficulties joining any.
Victor, are you still reassigning? Are you still assigning? Because I don't think I
Yeah, so
am one.
yeah. So I put you in the main session, yeah, but yeah, the system is still, assigning other folks to.
Other. Okay, okay. So yeah, if you're still here, just chill. Probably in the next few minutes, you should get assigned to a breakout room.
I have a question. Are people reassigned automatically? And do they get to choose where they want to go?
No. It's shuffled.
Okay.
So yes. So I'm going to, there are some folks I have not assigned to breakout rooms yet. Hopefully, well, yeah. Okay. I think I'll put in a breakout room now, Chris. If you're still on the main call, just join your breakout room. If you can't see any breakout room, also you can let me know. because everyone has been assigned a breakout room. Well, yeah, if you also want to talk in the main session, it's also fine. But I would strongly, if you want to stay in the main session, rather, it's fine. But I would enjoin you guys to join your breakout. Hmm. So breakout rooms end in 6 minutes. Okay. Latifat, I'm going to assign you to a breakout room. I see you just joined. Maybe you dropped off and joined back in. Okay, so breakout room ends in 5 minutes. Okay.
Can I be added to a breakout room, please?
Yes, I've just assigned you to a breakout room. Let me know if you can see it. You should be assigned to a breakout room.
I don't know what I'm looking out for.
Yeah, you should get a notification saying
Okay,
join break.
I didn't.
Okay, I will try to open that.
And Daniel has his hand raised. Okay, I've seen it now.
Okay.
Daniel, can you see yours?
Yeah, kindly add me to the breakout room too, please. Thank you.
Okay. I think Latifat too.
Yeah, Latifa. Okay, I'll try again. I think she dropped off again, so I will move Latifat again.
All right. Um,
Yeah, interestingly, there are some breakout rooms that have more people, so I will try to, find a good way to show this. Okay, who else? Okay, let me
Daniel, have
see.
you gotten a notification?
Breakout room ends in 3 minutes. Latifa, you should be in the breakout room now.
How about Daniel?
Daniel should not be. I can't see Daniel.
I can see
Daniel. Okay, Daniel is still. Daniel has been assigned to breakout room 5, so you should have seen a notification telling you to go to breakout room 5. The only persons that's supposed to be here is Kausa Babatunde. Okay, and Erasmus just joined. I will add you. I will add you to breakout room. Who else? Okay, so Emmanuel, you've been assigned to breakout room 2. Daniel, you should be in breakout room 5. Peters, I can see you're still here, but you've been in 4. But well, the breakout room ends soon, anyways. Yeah. Okay, I think people are coming back from the rooms. So yeah. So Kausa, we have just 2 minutes and then back to you.
All right. I think after the breakout room, we really don't have much, right? We just have to tell them what to expect next week, and if they are yet to fill out
Yeah,
the
sure.
attendance form, they should,
Yeah.
and we just wrap it up.
All right. Awesome.
And yeah, we need to give you would have to still use your slides.
Oh, okay, sure. I'm happy to share. Let me give up.
Okay.
So I think people are coming back from the room because it ends in 7 seconds. Yeah.
Sorry, I need a slide that has Land Africa. Land Africa.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think yeah, that's fine. All right, people are joining back. Welcome back. Welcome. I hope the breakout section was an interesting one, and you were able to like connect with people. Welcome. I don't think we have more people still trying to join back. Victor, can you confirm that? All right. Welcome everyone once again. So I would like to introduce the organizing team for this section. We have Orelua Babatunde. So Orelua Babatunde is also a researcher at LyngualLab. We have Victor Olufemi. So Victor has been the one, talking and stuff. We also have myself, Kausar, and we have Botemi Bolarinwa. And yeah, one more person, we have Demilade Williams. So Demilade Williams is our social media manager also. And many thanks to our official sponsor, Land Africa. So what do Land Africa do? So Land Africa is more like a hub where you can get different NLP resources. If you're looking forward to have data sets, research paper in different African languages, it's more like a diverse or where you can get different data sets, different resources. So if you are looking forward to also get started in NLP research, you could check out Land Africa, and also you can also contribute. I'll just drop the link to the website, and they also have a Slack channel where you can actually join also. So it would be nice you for somebody if you're interested in NLP, like I said, you could check them out. Landafrica.org. All right. So what do you need to expect from us next week? Would I think we have the timetable already posted, and gets ready to get a kind of mail from me. Okay, yes. So for the second week, we'll be treating literature reviews and research methodologies. Sorry, I need to check the website I dropped for Learn Africa. Oh, sorry, it
Oh,
is
yeah.
.com,
Someone
not
asked
org.
about slides and recording as well. So maybe I should just answer that. Slides will be made available. Kausa would send them to you. Recording as well. The session is being recorded, so you can trust that for those that missed any part of the session, it will be made available. Yeah.
All right, so I'll be sending a follow-up mail where you get to have probably like a summary of what we treated today and the slides that we used. And yeah, get ready for us to attend our section next week also. So next week would take a step further in treating literature reviews and research methodologies. So in the meantime, make sure you reflect on what we've treated. We already gave like an assignment that you should check out which research idea are you looking forward to, so that you could just get started, and before the end of this section you are able to have like a research paper or like an article or something. Do you understand? So yeah, thank you all for joining today's section, and bye.
All right.
And
Thank
yeah,
you,
for the
Council.
recording, yes, we would drop it on our YouTube channel, so you should also like follow us and get some updates. I would also send the link to our YouTube channel in the next email I'll be sending out. So thank you all once again. And if you have any question, you can still use the WhatsApp group in case you've not joined. I am sure that from what's it called? From the webinar link, you should be able to get the WhatsApp group link. So try and join so you could, connect with other people and, share your ideas and stuff. Oh, do we have a Telegram channel? Unfortunately, we don't have one. We are just using normal WhatsApp channel. So please make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram.